Lillian de Waters, this is another version of the question, was there a fall from God? Quote, God is spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Who is comprehending the innermost meaning of this momentous, authoritative statement? They who hear this admonition that spirit must be our first and supreme concern are they who love truth and reality more than person, book, or traditional system of belief. Quickly, fearless, we cast away as futile and fallacious every teaching which would identify us as a human man, a human mind and being. We know, and we do not hesitate to declare, that since God is spirit, we are spirit, and that to worship in spirit, we must be spirit. Our name is spirit, our nature is spirit, the real self. We are neither a personal self nor a corporal form, nor do we live in a material existence. No such thing as personal being exists, neither mortality, material senses, human concept, an opposite of spirit, or a supposititious antipode to spirit. God, spirit, is all. Whatever spirit is, exists unchanged, unseparated, everlasting. Quote, nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. That which has been is now, and that which is to be has already been. There are not two minds and two beings of us, a human or mortal one, here and now, and a spiritual, immortal one, to be gained later in some other existence. Nor is there a meritorious need that we work, labor, and struggle now as a being at war with oneself. Right here and now, we can and we must behold as He who is not separated from God. Then we know ourselves as Spirit, with whom is no shadow of turning. Infinite spiritual mind never became finite mentality. Infinite spiritual being never became sinful humanity. No part of God fell away from God. There never existed a fallen state of being, darkness, a void, a sinful Adam, or Adam dreamers. We are not man, image, idea, reflection, or expression. We are what God is. I, we, us, is spirit itself, mind itself, the perfect self itself, pure and perfect always. The one selfhood does not say, I must battle with my false beliefs, I must reap what I sow, I must vanquish sin and overcome the dream of a material existence. Let no one believe that he is another self. As soon as we see perfectly that there is one self only, then we renounce the imperfect teaching that we are another. We cease accepting the idea that we must travel from darkness to light, from sense to soul. We know I am the real self alone. spiritually perceiving and knowing everything in its right light, and calling things by their true names, the sense of time, space, and structure is not present. The real and the true is all that we know and all that we experience. Therefore, we keep our attention on what God is and what God, the Self, knows, not on what God is not and does not know. It is revealed to us that we live now in the spiritual world, and there is no other world. For the one to be all, the one must be without a second. The one all is the fact, standing alone, uninterrupted, invariable, everlasting. Servitude to doctrines based upon the teaching that we are mankind, humanity, mortals, or humanhood having minds to choose and to think as we will, results in confusion of vision and tongue, turmoil and frustration. Whereas basing our clear perception on spiritual being as our only being, spiritual mind as our only mind, and spiritual existence as our only existence, rejecting all other contrary teachings, regardless of their source, origin, or conception, we enjoy the faultless law of freedom, peace, and blessedness. We are a light unto ourselves. Knowing the allness of our own self as perfect, pure, and complete, we know no process of salvation. We see no enemy to be overcome, no power to silence, nothing to defeat or destroy. Our selfhood exists in itself only, in its own entirety and omnipresence. It has knowledge and awareness of itself alone. It is purity itself. It is perfection itself. It is oneness, allness, totality, unity. Self-contained, self-complete, self-supreme, our selfhood knows nothing to be punished, overcome, healed, or destroyed. Right now, it should be clear and certain that there is no reality and perfection for God, and unreality and imperfection for us, nor spiritual existence for God, and human existence for us. God's reality is our reality. God's existence is our existence. And we can have no reality, no existence of our own. Otherwise, there would be no principle of being. Not any other mind, power, thought, or thing was antecedent to the one infinite being. Nor can any other mind, power, thought, or thing exist beside. Therefore, to whomsoever the question arises, "Who am I?" the resounding answer of the one can be read as follows, quote, "He that is not with me is against me, and he that gathereth not with me scattereth abroad." Spiritually seeing and understanding that the axiomatic principle that there is none beside me, we know there is no dual being, God and man, nor dual mind, divine mind and human minds, nor dual activity, spiritual awareness, and human thinking. Belief in a personal mind and its thinking keeps one from listening to the voice of his own heart, which always knows and could ever have told him that there was no fall from God and the perfect world, that there is nothing mortal, human, or material. Think not to change, heal, purify, spiritualize, or translate anyone or anything. Nothing but the One is present. Every moment spent in thinking, reading about, or listening to the teaching of another self, another mind, being, and existence beside the One, keeps one's attention from the truth, the real, the present, all in all. With avid zeal and in pure delight, one should hasten to drop everything pertaining to duality, devoting himself entirely to the pure and perfect One as all. Devotion to perfect knowledge instantly puts to naught our association with any doctrine, method, or practice based upon a mind and thinking which is not of God. Identified as the One Self and loving the One beyond all else, we are gloriously aware of harmony, peace, joy, and wholeness as our own life, mind, and consciousness, here and now. Only when we know with the heart can we have perfect knowledge. If all do not hear the voice and receive illumination and revelation, it is only because they are misidentifying themselves as a human man or woman with human mind and thinking. The only truth that can be said of a mortal being or a human mind is that no such one or thing exists. The reader should note that every method and practice set forth today pertains to us as some other being besides the One. Certainly, that could not apply to the one spiritual being. Such ideas as sickness, sorrow, war between nations, warfare with ourselves, tribulation, and death were never thought, nor spoken by pure and perfect mind. Listen to your own heart, which believes neither in sin nor in punishment, in a mortal mind nor in its destruction. There is none beside me. Glorify me. Who is to regard error as universal false belief? No one. Who is to believe in the self-destructive nature of evil? No one. Who is to build higher states of human consciousness or see through illusion? No one. Superstitions, time-worn dogmas, and obsolete doctrines should no longer be sanctioned. Let them be taboo. Be single-visioned, single-minded, single-tongued. That God and the perfect world is within us is the glorious, everlasting truth at hand, to be seen, known, and accepted by everyone who will receive it. Quote, by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. From now on, the teachings and beliefs of everyone will lie exposed to view, whether they speak the language of the one mind or use the double talk, whether they accept the one mind alone or believe that we are another. Teachings and doctrines can now be seen for just what they are, whether they teach the flawless truth that we are spirit, we are the one mind, living now in the spiritual world and separated from God. Or if they talk about us as man, humanity, mind and thinking in a human existence. Do they teach the truth boldly and authoritatively that we are the real self alone? Or do they still continue to promulgate the unprincipled belief that we are humans or mortals? The arrival of perfect knowledge heralds the abolition of the welter of worthless, useless words relating us to a mind, being, self, body, and world which have no existence. The use of certain telltale words instantly reveals one's state of knowledge or belief. Prefixes greatly determine the fundamental meaning of words. Take, for example, the prefix trans, meaning across, over, beyond. Definitely, the use of the word translate, transform, transcend indicate the thinker, speaker, or writer to be accepting two selves, two minds, and two worlds. And as a human being, he contemplates passing or going from one state to another. A spurious notion, an utterly impossible achievement. There is no mortal. There is no human mind. There is no material existence. Spirit is the only being, the only mind, and the only existence. The words overcome, overthrow, conquer, demonstrate, strive, struggle, are also indicative of the fact that one is accepting himself as separated from God and the spiritual world. Such thinking denotes that his need is for spiritual light and revelation. Just where is the omnipresent God, if not right here and now where we are? Why look forward to some other place, time, or plane to find rest, peace, and happiness than now, at hand? Why think of the next plane? Only because of belief and teaching that we are humanity, living now in a temporal human body. God does not see us as other beings, other minds. Though we have been taught to believe that we have personal or human minds and live now in a human or material existence, this teaching and belief has an end. Enlightenment has revealed that there has never been more or other than one self, one consciousness, one world, and one existence. There must be no further acceptance of dual belief. For example, to say there is one mind only is truth. If one would rest his understanding here, he would have knowledge. If, however, he then proceeds to state that the human mind is opposed to God, that the human mind is all that produces pain, that the human mind must rise above the sense of materiality into spiritual understanding, he has directly contradicted his statement of truth that there is one mind only. He is double-minded. His labor is spent in vain. Imperfect or partial knowledge is belief only, while knowledge with a capital K is itself the perfect perception of truth, verily, truth itself. To state that there is one infinite spiritual selfhood, and in the next breath to allude to us as mortals, humanity or mankind, who must be spiritualized and translated, evidences that the thinker or speaker has not himself received the revelation that truth is one without a second. When he has knowledge that he is himself the one mind and one being, he will stop identifying himself or anyone else as a mortal with a human mind. Never again will he believe in any existence but spiritual existence, nor any self or being but the infinite, indivisible one. He will know and he will state that the one self reigns alone, eternally, and that we are ever this self. Truth does not exist in the teaching that we are not the real self now, nor the real mind. Truth does not exist in the teaching or religious doctrine that we are man, and as man we must be translated forward or back into spirit. Knowledge does not dwell in dualistic teaching. Knowledge or absolute understanding knows and states that there has never been more than one self, one consciousness, one will, and one world, that of itself. For every expanse in spiritual light, we are glad and happy. But let no one think there is a place where revelation has stopped. Revelation is as boundless as God, immeasurable, eternal. Since our divine mind is infinite, total, all, then every teaching or doctrine relating to us as a human mind, human thought, human concept, human will, must be abandoned and done away with. It is the truth that our only being is God. It is the truth that our only world is within us. It is the truth that our own consciousness is Christ's illumination. The belief, therefore, that we must develop into our own self, journey to the perfect world, or accept revelation as belonging to certain ones in past only, in past history, has no truth in it. We are here and now God Self, God Being, God Consciousness, and our illumination is ever at hand and within us. This true and right knowledge will bring to an end the wrong teaching that we are man, a human or mortal, living in a temporal existence, to reach perfection through progressive human footsteps. Quote, "If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin, but now they have no cloak for their sin. Until perfect knowledge was revealed that we are inseparable from spirit, we had no way of knowing the ambiguity of the teaching that God is spirit, but we are mortals. There remains now no excuse for double-mindedness, double vision, and double talk. When one perceives that he is teaching or accepting the teaching that we are humanity, human minds, and human bodies, it must be now clear to him that he is believing in separation from God. Thus, automatically, he is identifying himself with sickness, limitation, trial, and tribulation. Fear not to give up wrong beliefs. They must go. Truth and reality is all that exists, all that can ever exist. Through spiritual revelation only can we see things in their true light. Then we know there has been no separation between God and us, and that no translation can be made in ever-present perfect being. True and certain these words, quote, "Every kingdom divided against itself shall not stand." In proclaiming God as our life and being, yet believing in and discussing human minds, human beings, human conditions, error, mortal mind, devil, mesmerism, hypnotism, animal magnetism, counterfeit, unreality, illusion or appearance, one is a kingdom divided against itself. Perfect knowledge does not exist in the teaching of a human mind, a mortal body, a material world, or a mental power. The truth in religion or metaphysics will endure forever, but its fallacious teaching that we are mankind, humanity, or mortals, to be raised or translated into the real and true, is already becoming useless. Accepting one mind only to be our mind, consciousness, and world, in possession of infinite knowledge, we have infinite enlightenment with us, brilliant and sublime. Identified as this one being, mind and selfhood, here and now, we are accepting oneness which has never been severed. The absolute message declares only one spirit, being, existence, and world is to be considered. Metaphysical teaching may lead the way to the absolute, but cannot enter it, since metaphysics cannot go beyond its boundaries. The hour is here now. Indeed, the hour is ever present, when one should identify himself with pure knowledge and right teaching only, for nothing else will ever satisfy. Let him believe in one consciousness, one world. Let him discuss no other. Let all things pass away. Behold the new day. We should serve in newness of spirit and not in the oldness of the letter.